Sports such as hockey, football, and soccer have been on a steady rise over the decades. They have become more and more popular as the audience grows to love them. But alternative sports, or extreme sports, have been on the rise as well. They have grown at a smaller rate than before-mentioned sports, of course, but have grown nonetheless. But why? And what are alternative sports? According to Joy Chrissy Hanea, in her article Beyond the Alternative versus Mainstream Dichotomy, Olympic BMX and the Future of Action Sports, she says, alternative sports are generally defined by what they are not, mainstream. Here are a few numbers to clue us in a little bit. In the same article by Joy Chrissy Hanea, she says, since the 1990s, alternative sports have become increasingly popular. By 2002, approximately 86 million people were participating in action sports, a 10% increase than a decade before. Now, along with the growth of these alternative sports, a rise in productions of the sports have risen as well. Coincidence? I would think not. Maybe the people involved with these sports use these films in order to raise awareness of the sports. Maybe they want other people to be able to experience what they can do. Maybe they just want to get people's attention. Either way, filming these sports have helped the sport to grow dramatically. One of the main devices used for these sports include the GoPro camera. In an article by Ryan Mack called GoPro Evolution, From 35mm Film to America's Fastest Growing Camera Company, he says, in the first half of 2012, GoPro was responsible for 21.5% of digital camcorder shipments nationwide, up from a 6% market share the year before, according to IDC data. So now that we know this, the next question on my mind is, why exactly do people perform these alternative sports?
Tell me, how did you get into skateboarding?
I don't know, I was just a kid and it just looked like fun, so I just grabbed a board one day and just enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, being able to travel, everything's taken care of, like paid for. It's a blessing. I never thought I'd be doing something like this.
And how do you keep the passion for it going?
It's just one of those things that there's so much you can do on it. It's not like soccer where you're just trying to put the ball in the goal, but you can be so creative with it, so it never gets boring.
But my dream was to become I always played basketball, so my mom tripped out that I wanted to skateboard. I'm like, well, I think it's fun. I'm like, yeah, this is something I really want to do. I want to become a professional skateboarder. And I made sure I set myself and I worked at it each day until it happened.
There seems to be a pattern with these videos when you look from one to the next, and then to the next one. Certain equipment is used in almost all these films that can be seen, something technological. That piece of technology would be the fisheye lens. So what exactly is a fisheye lens, and why is it used?
Fisheye lenses are an extremely wide-angle lens that was originally developed for use in meteorology in order to capture cloud formations. There's two types of fisheye lenses. One of them, which creates the circle within your view frame, and it pretty much blacks out the rest. It's almost like a 360-degree circle that it's made out of your picture. Needless to say, it's going to be distorted in the shape depending on what's closer to your angle of view. The other one is also round, but where you have your picture frame that's square here, the circumference is going to be bigger round, so it's going to crop off the top and the bottom of that circle. So it's going to give you a little bit of you're not going to see the whole thing. It's going to be what they call a full frame fisheye.
What the technique does is it kind of increases the speed at which the skater passes by the frame. He starts off real small on one side, the trick is real big in the middle of the lens, and then again he ends small, leaving the frame on the other side. Just makes a trick look a little bit faster. Instinct when people first pick up a camera and they're filming is to make sure they keep the subject in the middle of the frame at all times. And this can work fine, but when you're using a fisheye lens and the subject is moving across the frame, as it very often is in skateboarding, you might want to try having the subject coming in from one side of the frame and leaving on the other side of the frame. And what this does is it keeps the camera a lot more stable. You don't have to pan or swing it across as much, and that makes the viewer a little less nauseous. And also it gives you time to basically absorb what's happening in the scene, because this trick is going to be edited in and out very quickly within a video usually. So you have 3 seconds maybe to convey a lot of information, what the spot is and what's going down and how the trick went in and out.
So if you are going to get a fisheye, don't be scared to get in there, get in there, Don't be scared to get hit. At some point, you're probably going to get hit. A board's going to come flying at you. It's just going to happen. But if you're going to use a fisheye lens, like, use it. Make it look dramatic. You're not really like doing yourself a favor at all if you're scared and like far away, because the closer you get, the more dramatic it's going to look, the weirder it's going to look, the better your photo is going to come out. So I mean, use your discretion. Don't put yourself in danger, but don't be scared to get in there with the fisheye, you know?
Typically when you're filming, you want to keep your eye looking through the viewfinder and make sure the shot's composed how you want it at the beginning, the middle, the end, throughout the whole shot. But when you're filming with a fisheye, quite often you have to get really close to the action, basically right in the danger zone where boards can fly out really fast and hit lenses, hit your head. I find it easier to not be looking through the lens when I'm that close because you have slightly shorter reaction times, or I do anyway. And so when I'm in the danger zone, I try and scope out the shot first, practice it a couple of times if possible, maybe even on a simple basic trick just to kind of get the feel for it, and then film the shot looking at the skateboard, not through the lens, so that I have a slightly faster reaction time in case I have to pull back from it. Once you've been shooting with the same lens and camera for a little while, you start to really get familiar with the range of the lens and you can start filming a little bit more instinctively.
It's a quintessential lens in skating. It's super distorted, super wide angle. You can make certain things look way taller, way longer. Everything looks super dramatic. It's a fun lens. You can make things look stupid. You can make things look exciting that weren't exciting. It's a heavily used lens in skating. It's not the only lens in skating, but if you're going to shoot skateboarding a lot, at some point you're probably going to have to bite the bullet and buy some sort of fisheye lens.
Another thing to watch out for when you're filming with a fisheye is not to hold the camera too high over the subject. Like you can see with this rail, if I'm over it, it looks kind of low, kind of squashes things down. Not saying you always have to be underneath the trick, but with a fisheye, typically you kind of get the best view, kind of getting down low and expanding things up. Especially with this ledge, it's like a low ledge anyway, so by looking over it, it looks low and the tail slide looks kind of soggy. Whereas if you get underneath it, the ledge looks as high as it can be and a bit more powerful.
So you see, filming skateboarding and other action sports is an art. The fisheye lens is used for aesthetic reasons, but also so that the camera can be moved at a minimal amount. This helps for the everyday viewer to be able to watch the technical tricks without becoming lost in the action. The fisheye lens is a widely used tool. It enhances the overall film when used in the proper situation. It gives the viewer a better perspective of the subject involved in the film.